Hey, everybody. Welcome in the building. Happy Saturday. I'm glad to see y'all here. Okay, listen, I had a really good Saturday. I hope y'all did too. Today in Jersey, I mean, the weather was absolutely beautiful, just gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weather. So I had a good Saturday. I did some cleaning, I did some other things, I ran some errands, but all is well. I had a good Saturday and I hope y'all did also. Listen, y'all know the routine is trending topics. And tonight's title is called Bad Parents. Bad Parents. Unfortunately, none of us get to pick who our parents are. We just get who we get. And some people really get some horrific parents. And I feel for them. Love my mom, love my dad. My dad was on this earth 85 years. God bless him. Thank you, God, for giving him 85 years on this earth. I miss him every day, but I know he's in a better place. And I thank God for the moments we had together. But some people have some horrific parents. Love my mom too. I saw her today. Saw moms. See my mom almost every day, almost every other day or something like that. But yeah, I saw mom. Bad parents. So you got this 15-year-old we're going to talk about. God bless him. He was able to escape and his hands was bound. He had something on his legs. He had no clothes on. This is a true story. No clothes on. He escaped his house of horrors, ran blocks, ran into a grocery store, and God bless every person in that grocery store that helped him out. Parents arrested. The house was stinking, smelling like urine and feces. There was another child in that horrific house. But to God be the glory. He found a way to escape. He ran and he got help. Some people never get to escape. Some people don't get help. That Kamani, they said diaper, CPS, whatever you want to call them, was called multiple times. It's disgusting that she's not here. So this 15-year-old, he got saved. He ran, left, and the people in the store helped him. To God be the glory. Then justice for Kamani. We did that story here on my channel the other day. And you know what? Sometimes people do not speak up in real time. And that's how monsters get away with stuff. Precious Gem, you said my dad passed away in 2020. Mom lives out of town, but will be here in 3 weeks for 10 days. Can't wait. Thanks for sharing, Precious Gems. My condolences regarding your dad. Sometimes it feels like it just happened yesterday. So my condolences. And I'm glad mom is coming to see you and going to be with you for 10 days. Enjoy every moment. Yes. So the girlfriend, because her father took her life. But his girlfriend is the one that helped the cops catch him. God bless this girlfriend. The girlfriend said he called her and told her to turn off the cameras in the house. Why? Because he brought evidence in the house and buried it underneath her basement or something like that. She called the cops. Then when he ran off and he called her again, she called the cops again and told the cops where they can find him. Bravo to this girlfriend. Bravo. If a man can take his daughter's life, he got no respect for life, period. Matter of fact, a person that takes somebody's life, they have no respect for life, period. That's why I go back to the woman who they said married this man after she knew he took the lives of 3 people. Then went to the jail to have conjugal visits with him, and he took her life. I'm sorry, I'm not going to rehabilitate a person that takes people's lives. That's somebody else's ministry. It's not Divas. No, I won't be dating you. No, I won't be sleeping with you. No, I won't be marrying you. Call me what you want, but it's a no for me. And it's a hard no. Not a no I'm going to think about. It's no. We're going to show the updated story with Kamani and her father's girlfriend who spoke up in real time and helped get that monster locked up, because he's a monster. Taking off her hand, slitting her throat to the point where she was almost decapitated. Piece of trash. Bad parents. And the last thing, and I know y'all say, Diva, well, Kingston is 35. I wouldn't care if he was 55 like Sean Combs. Where do you go in life when the people that are your first examples of how life should be, your parents, did you dirty? I'm not excusing anything Diddy did or didn't do. But they said the mama was throwing parties in the house when he was young. When stuff happens in your household when you're young, it's your norm. It's your norm. If I'm your mother and I'm in my house cursing, carrying on like a fool, drinking, walking around with no clothes on, letting men come in and out my house, that is your norm. People end up doing what they see done. It's very sad. But it becomes your norm. So Sean Kingston, the mother was in and out of jail for fraud, bounce checks, this, that, and the other. This was the mother's legacy. And just like you can have a good legacy and pass it on to your kids, you can have a bad legacy that you pass on to your kids. And if y'all give me a moment, I want to say this respectfully. Respectfully, Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston passed on the legacy of drug addiction to some of their kids. It's sad, but it's the truth. We got to tell the truth. They said, speak the truth and shame the devil. But that's the legacy that they passed on. It's sad, but it happens and it's real. Depending upon how you was brought up, some people call it generational curses. You can break the chain, but you got to want to break the chain, and you got to fight to break the chain because it ain't easy. There's some people who their parents grew up on Section 8. And then next thing you know, they got Section 8 and they just carrying it on for generation to generation to generation to generation. And the people think just because you turn a certain age, all of a sudden a light bulb is going to go in your head and you're going to do something better than what you saw. You can't. You got to want that thing. You got to know that it's wrong and that you got to do something different. How do you look at your parents and say they was wrong? So this Sean Kingston, he's young. And listen, here's the thing about crimes. We don't determine the punishment. I think this punishment that they both facing is kind of harsh for $1 million. But I don't make the rules and the laws. Do I think they need to pay? Absolutely, they do need to pay. But to spend decades in jail for $1 million, it just seems extremely harsh to me. Now, the mother, she been down this road before. For him, I'm hoping they slap a light sentence on him. And I hope if they do slap a light sentence on him, he learned his lesson. That's my hope. But we're here to talk about it because that's what Diva believes. That don't mean you have to connect to that thought. Y'all can talk to me, but I don't think they should throw the book at him. He did not take somebody's life. Yes, he defrauded people, but nobody died. There's people out here taking people's lives, and they do less time than that. Now, his sentence is not to July. If I was him, I'd be praying every day, every minute, every hour up until July, asking God for forgiveness and help me, please. Touch the heart of this judge, and I will figure out a way to write the nicest letter to this judge and promise the people I will never do it again, and I will work every single day in a legitimate job to pay back this money that I owe these individuals. I mean, they was fronting and stunting, renting out a $30K a month home. That just don't even make any type of sense. Unless you Jay-Z, Beyonce, Jeff Bezos, what, you have no business renting out a home for $30K a month. That's insanity. I'm not renting nothing for $30K a month, even if I have that money. I'm going to purchase something first. There's just no way. $30K a month in rental. Sometimes you can take the people out the ghetto, but you can't take the ghetto out the people. There's no way you could give me an argument where that makes sense, because that's what he was doing. And then on top of that, you bringing them in the rental home, you having them put up custom stuff. That just don't even make sense. And for those that watch the Real Housewives of Potomac, it's like Mia Thornton. She had hardwood floors put in a rental. Do y'all know how much hardwood floors cost? She had hardwood floors put in a rental, and then the next year she was out of that rental. Just straight stupid. Get them. But listen, guys, y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what I need in the chat. I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Saturday Night Trending Topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Bad Parents. We got a shocking escape by a 15-year-old. We got justice for Kamani. And we got Sean Kingston in July of 2025. He's going to learn his fate, but he was found guilty alongside his mother, who was a bad parent, if you ask me. Let me bring the people on in the building. Hey, in my opinion.
Hey, Diva. Choo choo.
Hey, Savannah.
Hey,
Hey, Julius.
y'all, hit the like button. Choo choo.
Woo! Miss K and J, good gosh almighty. For 2 rooms. When I got, but you know, my house is not that big. When I got wood floors, I'm gonna digress for a minute. In my home, I went to the flooring store, and I want to say, like, I was going and I saw all, because there's so many different kinds you could choose from. And then anyway, I asked the lady, well, what do you have that is discontinued? Right, like, because you know, when it's discontinued, you running a little risk though, right? Because if they have enough boxes or a little bit over, if something happens and you need more, you're screwed, right? But luckily I got a nice discontinued one. Maybe I'll show y'all my wood floors one day. But they're gorgeous, and I lucked up. So I got you know, it was still pricey, I ain't gonna lie, but at least, you know, I lucked up, because the wood I got, because it takes a lot for them to install it too. But the wood I got was on sale, and it was discontinued. So it was I got a really, really good deal, and I love my floors. But I'll take a picture and show y'all one day. But anywho, let's get into the first story here. I think the first story I'm gonna do is this escape by the 15-year-old, which was so shocking and so sad. So hold on, let me share a screen.
On the outside, this home looks picture perfect, with signs that say autism awareness. An anonymous neighbor hearing what is not seen.
They're like always banging on the walls like a fist or whatever. Bam, 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 bam.
But what police say happens behind closed doors is unimaginable.
but if they have them tied up or something in the house.
Officers say a 15-year-old boy with autism ran about a block to this grocery store.
I could hear people gasp, like, like a sound of shock. And I turned, and when I did, the young gentleman was coming across the front end with no clothes on.
You guys did a great job yesterday.
Thank you so much.
A normal day for managers at Cost Less Foods went from calm to chaotic in seconds.
This kid is in trouble and we need to get him help.
Visibly in danger.
His wrists were together and there was another rope on his ankle.
His appearance concerning.
He had 75 to 100, maybe more bruises, several bruises all over his body.
Managers covered the teen with a coat and dialed 911.
I just kept telling him, everything's going to be okay. And I would pat him on the back, and everything's going to be okay. We're here. We're going to take care of you.
Ceres police arrived shortly after.
A lady arrived on scene claiming that she was looking for her son. She was identified as Leandra Renteria.
Police went to the home and discovered 2 other adults and a 12-year-old girl with autism. The child was not hurt.
The living conditions were, feces and urine throughout the house, strong odors, things that are very, strong health hazards that nobody should be living in.
Police say both children were taken by Child Protective Services. Many say they will never forget that boy.
I would probably just give him a hug, and I think he would know.
3 adults were arrested on charges of child abuse and neglect. The boy's mother, grandmother, and her husband.
That's a darn shame. The grandmother was there too. So hold on one second. Let me share screen again. So boy 15 ran naked into a store after escaping deplorable home with feces and urine throughout. Now 3 people have been arrested. Authorities said the teenager was bound at the wrist when he entered a California grocery store this week. After a 15-year-old boy who was bound at the wrist ran naked into a California grocery store earlier this week, 3 people have been arrested for alleged child abuse and neglect, authorities said. On Wednesday, March 26, around 1:39 p.m. local time, the Sears Police Department, CPD, responded to reports of a nude male running near Hatch Road and Richland Avenue, the department wrote in a statement on Facebook. When they arrived at the scene, CPD officers found the teen who has autism bound at the wrist inside the local Cost Less grocery store. There were also indicators that he may have been bound at the ankles with multiple visible injuries. The department added, detailing that the emergency medical aid was dispatched to the scene and the juvenile was transported to a local hospital for treatment. Per the CPD, the boy's mother, Leandra, began looking for her son amid the investigation. As police learned that Leandra, 36, had another child, a 12-year-old girl who is also autistic. They performed a welfare check at the home and found the girl safe, but authorities said the residence was in poor condition. The living conditions were, feces and urine throughout the house, strong odors, things that are very strong health hazards that nobody should be living in, the lieutenant said. Leandra was then arrested on charges of child abuse and neglect and booked at the County Public Safety Center along with Gary Wilson and Lenore Wilson, per the police department. The news reported that Lenore, 54, is the teen's grandmother and Gary, 58, is her husband. The outlet said the Wilsons were no longer in police custody as of Thursday, March 27. It is not immediately clear if any of the individuals have obtained legal representation to comment on their behalf. The 2 children have since been removed from the home and placed under the care of CPS, per the police. Those who were at the grocery store during the incident opened up to the news about what they witnessed. Senior head clerk Rebecca recalled the moment she saw the boy in trouble, telling the outlet, "I could hear people gasp like a sound of shock. And I turned, and when I did, the young gentleman was coming across the front end with no clothes on, and he was dragging a rope. His left ankle where he had broken loose, that, and then he was very thin. he had a 75 to 100. He had a 75 to 100, maybe more bruises, several bruises all over his body. She continued. Manager David added that he realized the team was in danger and needed help since his wrists were stuck together and there was another rope on his ankle. We just kept telling him everything is going to be okay and kept patting him. She explained, also mentioning that the employees covered the naked boy with a coat. This is terrible. In my opinion, your thoughts?
These the type of people that make it really hard to find compassion in your heart. I just don't understand how you could do that to your own kid. 75 to 100, them are not just all in one time. You know, that boy has probably suffered for the longest, being tied up and bound by rope and tape. All this stuff feels unreal. Like, what happened to loving your kids above everything else? Like, I just don't understand these people. If you don't want your kids, there are a lot of parents out there that would love to have your kids. Give them up. Like, it's nothing wrong with it. If you can't do it, then let somebody else do it that has the heart to care for kids, because they do need to be loved and protected, and they should have a safe environment to grow up in. They're creating trauma that these kids will never get over. And then they autistic at that. This is deplorable.
Deplorable. Savannah, your thoughts?
You know, the Department of Child, or is it Children and Family Services? That's one department that I don't care which administration is in office. I think it needs a complete overhaul because we are obviously failing our children. It baffles me. This story is very similar to the Ruby Frankie story, who whose documentary is on online, and whose child also was being held by duct tape and ropes and escaped to find help as well. I don't know where the disconnect is with parents who do this to their children, to the beings that they once held in their hands and were given to protect and nurture and raise. And I don't understand where there is such a disconnect, and why homes are covered in are abandoned, covered in feces and urine, and just these stories get more and more and more horrific. And while the social workers, I know, because I've interned in these offices when I was in my 20s, that they're overwhelmed, they're overworked. Parents are more of an obstacle and challenge, instead of being a partner in building and getting the family to a better situation. So it's not on the caseworkers itself, but it's on the policies and and just being able to monitor our children. Did a teacher, were they going to school, did not an administrator notice anything for this child to be covered in bruises, to be missing, um, and being cared for by three monsters, because the grandmother is also a piece of work, and her daughter obviously is nothing uh, to brag about either. Just thank God he was able to escape and get some help, and now also get help for his sister. And we really need to start looking and protecting our children. Like Felicia says, we are failing. We are obviously and absolutely failing our children, and it is absolutely heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. Katrina, your thoughts?
These are some nasty tail people. How 3 grown-ups living in a house with urine and feces around? Are they on drugs or something? Are they just using those kids to get a check? But those kids, y'all mouthpiece? Well, not the mouthpiece. But these kids, your what they call it? Can't think of the word right now. But either way, they probably was getting checks for these children, and they probably
Mm,
weren't even going to school. They probably weren't even enrolled in school. And
mm.
for them to be in that house with feces and all that type of stuff, they all something wrong with all of them. Because ain't nobody in their right mind finna stay in no house with no feces and urine everywhere. All of them got some psycho problems. Cause something is just not clicking there. No adult, no clean adult, no adult that love themselves and love their family will stay in a house with urine and feces everywhere. That's disgusting. How was y'all eating? Like it just sick, and then you breathing all that stuff in. You making yourself more sicker. They had to be on something because ain't nobody in their right mind finna stay in no house like that. That's just disgusting, nasty. And then you got these kids breathing in that stuff too. I'm glad that y'all did break loose, and hate he was naked, but still he broke free, and now he's more freer than he was in that house. This is just ridiculous, and I hope they get that girl out of there as well. These some nasty tail people, and it don't make any sense. Grandmama, the mama, and the man, and he can't be much of a man because most men don't like no nasty women. So, like I said, they either own something and they using them kids for a check, and it's disgusting. The folks need to go there and burn that whole house down because this don't make no sense. And another thing I always say, if they see the evidence the way it is, they don't even need no trial. Just send them straight to jail. You wasting our taxpayer money. Now they out. They out of jail. Doing what? Are you cleaning that house? This just nasty. This is totally, totally nasty, and it don't make no sense. I mean, dear God, how I ugh. I'm just saying. I hope they. Ooh, how was they cooked? Yeah, never mind. I'm good. I'm good. That's all I got to do.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
Inhumane and gross. That baby had to run in
Mm,
his birthday suit
mm,
in
mm.
some still cold weather to get to safety. That baby had to run with no socks or shoes on to get to safety. Where is the value? Where is the love? Where is the protecting? The same thing with the Ruby Frankie. Her son had to run
Mm.
to get some kind of help. And on top of that, the little sister has autism as well. I'm not really going to say the thought that just came into my mind, given the fact that this young man was in his birthday suit, but I'm pretty sure y'all can figure it out. All 3 of them gross, grotesque human beings need to be in jail, not out on bond. They need to be in jail, and they need to be having street justice being done to them in jail. Cause that boy had a rope at his ankles, bruises all over his person, and you don't want us speculating what we kind of think. Oh no. Mm-mm. Now there is a ooh, the Lord's wrath. I hope the Lord's wrath comes down on these people hard. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. The fact that he was bound and tied and had no clothes on, this is so incredibly sad. I'm glad though, you know what? I'm glad he found a way to break loose and run and run. I'm so glad he got help. Just so glad. I'm gonna go ahead and roll
Eva,
it.
can I say some add on? So this is to the pro life argument. Everybody wants to talk about they pro life this, they pro life that. This is a prime example where those efforts can be of use. Clean up the foster care system. Add more staffing to the Department of Children and Families. If you're so pro life, here's a perfect way to use it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and roll into the next story. And the next story is it's an update to a story we did the other day about the young lady who was living with her grandmother. The grandmother must have worked that night, from everything that I can gather. So every night, this poor girl, well, every night the mother worked, this poor girl was in the house by herself, got herself up and ready for school by herself. She just, it's always sad to me when you hear about childhoods that are not happy. um, from birth to 18, at the very least, when you with your parents, it should be nothing but goodness and greatness and great memories. And there are so many people that unfortunately do not have good memories. And so, we're not going to know perhaps the true story, or maybe somehow, some way it will end up coming out. But I will say this: at least the girlfriend of the father that took her life, she stood up in real time and spoke up and helped the cops, bring him to justice. So let me share screen and let's take a listen.
Murder. Toledo police executed several search warrants, including where he lived on the east side. 13 Action News has learned it was Darnell Jones' girlfriend who helped police with evidence in the case. That woman, who asked us not to identify her, tells us Jones called her Friday and asked her to turn off the cameras at the home. She says she got suspicious and did not turn them off, and she adds she was in the bedroom when a relative saw Jones move some items from his SUV into the house and hide them under the basement stairs. She called police, who got a search warrant and then took the evidence.
What did he hide under your stairs?
It was like a mat for the back of your truck, not a pickup, but SUV. You know, when you lay your seats down and you put that rubber mat in there to protect the back of your seats, in case you're hauling something. That's what he rolled up and put in my basement. And his work boots, which were caked with mud, and he hadn't worked in a while.
She says once Jones noticed the items gone, she never saw him again. She also told us Jones called her from Columbus, and she told police where they could find him. As the Toledo community continues to grieve the loss of Kei'Mani Laatigue, some are stepping up to help contribute to a funeral service for the young girl. Wheeling on the Rocks on Lasky will be hosting a benefit and poker run this upcoming Sunday. That's to help raise funds to properly honor Kei'Mani and celebrate her life. They said all of the money raised will go directly to the funeral home. Main event will be at Wheelin, with other businesses participating in the poker run, including Kingston Saloon just over the border, Daffy's, and Corner Saloon just over the border.
I want something for her. I think the whole town wants something for her, to have, an abundance of flowers, a beautiful casket, maybe a park bench or anything to help, with the memorial.
Kickstand is on Alexis in Toledo. Those hosting Sunday's event tell us that a donation to the funeral home is essentially your ticket to take part in the activities. So if you'd like to donate, or if you'd like to find out more, you can go to our website, 13abc.com.
Emotions are running high, and people from all over are coming to Toledo to mourn the loss of Kei'Mani and offer support. But how does the community begin to heal from this horrific incident? Social worker Cecil Holston says grief can be there, whether or not you know someone personally affected by a violent crime. He says people may feel a connection to the case because they may have a daughter or son the same age as Kei'Mani. Holston says one way to deal with grief is to stay off social media.
Journal, writing things down. Checking in with your own personal children to make sure that they're okay. Because I think sometimes we miss that. Like, let's go sit in their room and go check and see where they're at. Because that might have been a friend of theirs, or it might have been a friend that they lost a year ago that is triggering them now. Their grief is now triggered.
Leaders with Lucas County Children's Services say they understand the public has many questions about Kei'Mani Laatigue, and today the agency's director made his first comments about her case. 13 Action News reporter Lily Lowndes has details. She joins us live in studio to explain what's next. Lily.
Yeah, Tony, it's not only the community that's hoping for answers. This is a story we broke yesterday on 13 Action News at 10, that Lucas County commissioners wanted to work with Children's Services to form an investigative task force. And today, that task force was approved. Community members are ready to take action after the tragic murder of 13-year-old Kei'Mani Laatigue.
Obviously, like everybody else in the community, I heard what had happened to this young girl.
Gordon Berry is a former Lucas County Children's Services board member. When he heard that concerns about Kei'Mani's safety were allegedly reported to the agency, he wanted to make sure that the county would never have a case with an outcome like this again.
It's my intention to contact the commissioners and volunteer my services.
Berry is hoping to join a special agency review task force launched by the Children's Services Board in collaboration with county commissioners.
I think it can only lead to good things, and I'm looking forward to the results.
Children's Services Executive Director Randy Muth said the task force will look at the agency's policies. The details of Kei'Mani's case are a separate matter. Muth says he knows the community has questions, but the prosecutors have asked they hold off on releasing any new information.
Review all those documents and make a determination as to whether the benefit of informing the public outweighs the potential damage that could be done to a future prosecution.
With that in mind, Muth says they're still in talks with prosecutors.
We've sent the information over. We have sent some suggested statements that we might make, for their approval.
Meanwhile, the task force is going full steam ahead. Berry says he hopes that the agency gets the resources they need.
What do I hope will come of this? I hope that we'll never have another case like this.
Muth told me that once the prosecution is over, the task force will help release files and let people judge for themselves how Children's Services responded prior to Kei'Mani's death. Tony.
Lily Lowndes reporting live for us this evening. 13 Action News is committed to bringing you the latest developments on this heart-wrenching story. We will stay on top of any updates to everything from tributes to the young girl to the investigation into her death. You can find it all at 13abc.com.
So sad. In my opinion, your thoughts?
I just want to know why it had to take her losing her life for y'all to get up and do your job that you was assigned to do in the first place. I really am upset that nobody, and it took 4 and 5 teachers to call them, and all y'all did was come out and look. Y'all didn't do no real investigation. Like, this is what pisses me off. There are people in place that tells you when they feel like somebody's being harmed at home or not in a safe environment, and all y'all do is come out and look because your caseload's too heavy or you can't do the. I need them to do what they supposed to be doing. If you're children in protective service, then protect the dang children. Quit trying to throw the children up under the rug. I am so tired of this, and I feel like somebody should issue a lawsuit to them because there's no way you went out and you saw this little girl, and if the teacher said she had bruises on her, there's no way y'all didn't see it. You had to report. You couldn't have talked to her then, because if she felt like that, then you would have heard her say it. I just really wish they would do their jobs instead of trying to push everything up on the rug. Okay, I went out there and is everything okay? Sign off on it. No, do the job that you're supposed to do and protect the children.
I appreciate that. Savannah, your thoughts?
When we did the initial story on this case, I went back and looked and saw that there was multiple reports made about the well-being and safety, welfare of this child, and nothing was done to protect her. So, while I appreciate the community coming together now to make sure that she has a proper burial and sending off, no one protected her back then, from the grandmother to the mother, or if there was a mother in the story. I still not clear with what her role is or was, or because the multiple interviews I saw her do, she shed not one tear, and it's just heartbreaking. Again, no one's there to protect someone that was being abused and neglected and was afraid. And I my I can imagine the horror and the terror that this young lady was going through for many years, many years. Um, I just I'm glad the community is doing something, but we have to do better. And I say we as a collective, we all have to do better. This is just another heartbreaking story.
Yeah, it is. I will say this. I just thank God the girlfriend spoke up. Katrina, your thoughts?
Deep, I have a question before I start talking. Um, why was the child services called there in the first place?
No,
What was the
no, the child services was alerted way before she lost her life that something wasn't right.
okay? I'm saying like they didn't
I
have
don't
no.
know if they saw bruises. I don't know what they saw. I don't know if they
Okay.
saw her being unkept. Because imagine she was taking herself to the to school every morning. Because remember the grandmother, first of all, this grandmother was freaking bogus, if you ask me anyway. The
Yeah.
grandmother said she came home, she saw her pajamas here, her underclothes there, and her phone was still in the house. And she called the school. You don't call the cops? This, yeah.
Exactly. Um, another case of no another family that's psycho. These people are totally sick. They're sick, and that's a beautiful girl. She was so beautiful, and her
Mhm.
life is gone for what? For what? This is ridiculous. And even if social worker came out there, the only thing they need to see was the house clean. Did she have a fire extinguisher? Did she have food? Did she have clothes? And once they figure that out, they saw that, they gone because they don't want to take on another burden. It's sad that these kids come in this world with parents that don't want to be a parent because she wasn't staying with the mama. She wasn't even staying with the dad. She was staying with the grandmama that was there partly half the time she was at work or so-called work. And for your, because this ain't the first time that he probably tried to do something to this girl in the first place. This probably was, it went too far this time, and she probably said, "I'm going to tell it." And because once somebody was with him in the house at the time, wasn't it? Didn't he
Well,
want somebody with him?
allegedly the cousin, that's all he said, but he told so many lies, we don't know if that's true or not.
That's true too. But either way, he's caught. And as I said before, why even hold a trial? I know it's thing called due process, but everybody know you're guilty. So if you're guilty, why do we have to pay? The tax people got to pay the money to put you up so you can eat 3 meals a day. She can't eat anything. She's gone. She can't watch any TV anymore. She's gone. She can't look up in the ceiling praying. She's gone. But he can do this. Like I said, when people like this, I don't even think they should have a trial. I think they just should go ahead and put them in an electric chair. You took a child away. This child haven't even lived her life yet, and you destroyed it. She's gone, and ain't no second coming back. This child is gone, all because of your psychotic ways, and it doesn't make any sense. And in my opinion, I think somebody needed to be they need to be charged. And another thing I'm happy about, they're not giving the money to the mama, they're giving the money to the funeral home, which I think is the best idea because you have your child consideration in while she was alive because you if you cared, she would have been with you. That's why I say a lot of people can be a mom, but it takes a whole lot of woman to be a parent. And hopefully that they get everything they deserve. Not just the man because he off the child, but you should be feeling some type of regret, some type of hurt that you didn't have your child with you at these times. That she had to stay with her grandmother, getting up 13. She was 13 years old, getting herself ready. Well, I know a lot of 13-year-olds get up and get themselves ready. I understand that too, but yet still, you still need that mother figure there, and she didn't have that, and that's a shame. So I think all of them need to be locked up from the grandmama on down. That's all I got, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
Yeah, so the community ain't playing. The community ain't playing. And I seen a social media video They came for that grandmother's neck. They were like, "Where's your tears?" When I say they came for her, they came for her. And the type of energy that the community is on, and how dismissive the grandmother was responding back, tells me there's something more to the story. And and her nonchalant, emotionalist response, yeah.
Thank you, Julius. All right, we're going to go ahead and roll into the last story. And the last story is Sean Kingston and his mother was found guilty and guilty on all 5 counts of fraud and everything that they was being charged with. They kept the mother up until her hearing where they're going to determine how much time she's going to get because they consider her a flight risk. They let him go home until July 2025 when his sentencing is going to be. This is sad to me. It's just sad to me overall. And yes, I understand this man did a crime and I understand his mother did a crime. I'm feeling more for him than I am for the mother because the mother, this ain't her first rodeo, right? So Sean Kingston's mother found guilty in wire. Sean Kingston and the mother found guilty in wire fraud trial. So Sean Kingston and his mother has been convicted in their federal wire fraud case. The Beautiful Girls singer and his mom, Janice Turner, were found guilty Friday on all 5 charges they were facing. Sean reportedly cried as the jury returned the guilty verdict, and he told the U.S. Marshals to protect my mother as they remanded her into custody and took her away from the courtroom. As we reported, Sean and his mother were accused of defrauding businesses out of more than $1 million in a fraud scheme involving jewelry, luxury vehicles, and other goods. The judge deemed Sean's mother a flight risk, which is why she's in custody, and Sean is now on home detention as they await their July 11th sentencing. Sean and his mom were looking at some hard time after being convicted of wire fraud. We're talking a max of 20 years in prison on each count for each of them. I just think that's insane to me. As we told you, federal prosecutors says Sean and his mother unjustly enriched themselves by falsely claiming they sent money transfers to pay for high-end goods and then kept the stuff even after it was discovered the payments never went through. Prosecutors claim Sean and Janice obtained more than $1 million in property through their alleged scheme, including ripping off a car dealer for $160K Cadillac Escalade and jurors for $480K worth of bling, all without paying a dime. The feds raided Sean's Florida mansion in May 2024, and shortly after, they were both arrested. During the trial, the judge reportedly said Sean's mother showed she was the fixer, the nerve center for the alleged fraud scheme, while Kingston's defense team claimed he was simply a child who was clueless in his finances. Now, unfortunately, ignorance of the law doesn't exclude you from the law, but I'm feeling for him. In my opinion, your thoughts? In my opinion, are you there? Okay, Savannah, your thoughts?
Well, I can agree with you, Diva, that I do believe the penalties for Sean are a little harsh. Being 20 years, I believe it was 4 or 5 counts of fraud, but he's only doing what this is what he learned from his mother. This is who she is. And I can remember when we did this story last year, I believe it was last summer, when she was so cocky and arrogant of them not being, doing anything when it came to the allegations that they're being charged with. But these two have a reputation in South Florida of not paying for services and their bills. I definitely can recall many times where Sean was owing jewelry dealers for jewels that he got for not just himself, but other people in his crew or clique. The cars, and if you remember that giant 90s screen TV, that remember that being on his wall as well, where he didn't pay for that. The neighborhood that this family, him and his mother, resided or hid in to do these crimes. That is a very exclusive neighborhood. You can't just literally drive up into this neighborhood. It is very elite and prestigious, as you've seen the houses in the video. I just I do believe that he should serve some time. I think
Mm.
20 years per count is very that's severe. That that's not that this young man will never see the light of day. And even as they were being sentenced, all he was worried about was the safety and well-being of his mother, when she never really cared for his well-being basically throughout his whole life. And he was able to afford her because I believe even before he became um I don't want to say he was star, but he was out there with his hit song. I think he only had one or two. He was still, I think they were running this scheme before he even be was able to get a
Mm.
hit song circulating. So this is something that he just grew up in, and it finally caught up to them. I think the mother is very low down. I think she's just um, arrogant. I'm glad they didn't release her. I think she's exactly where she needs to be. And hopefully they allow him, give him a lighter sentence, and allow him to pay off some type of restitution for the people that they owe. So it's unfortunate, but I'm glad that the mother is caught.
Yeah, so am I. Hopefully it turned out better for him. In my opinion, are you there? All right, Katrina, you're up.
These people really need to stop with this materialistic ideas
Mm-hmm.
because it's making you go down a road that you don't want to go down. You out here committing fraud to put up a facade that you got all this money and you can afford this, you can afford that, when you really can't. I mean, my dear God, is it worth the few days of pleasure to live in your next phase in a life of horror? And it's not like it's not her first time. Lady, you ain't got caught more than one time. You need to find another profession, because being a scam artist is not good for you, because you don't even know how to pull this off. And then you bringing your son in on it, which making it even worse. If you're gonna do something like this, the first thing you should do is protect your son so he wouldn't have to do anything like that. I can see myself out here struggling to try to make it for my child, but I sure don't want my child following behind me in my footsteps when I know he can get in trouble and he can serve time. And then the thing with these people, these rappers, these singers, whatsoever, they go out and buy this expensive stuff. The stuff depreciate as soon as they walk out the door.
Mm.
And these cars, when you buy these expensive cars, you still got to keep up the upkeep.
Mm-hmm.
For a Mercedes key, it's a $500 just for a key if you lose a key.
Mm.
So the things are expensive. You get these houses. The bigger your house is, the more taxes you pay. So, I mean, you have to have this money to go along with these lifestyle. Same thing when you going to get these cosmetic surgeries. You got to pay for the upkeep, because one day it's gonna fall. You're gonna have to rebuild it back up and do everything all over again. This stuff is not cheap. If you don't have the money to do it, live on your own means. Why try to go out there and impress somebody? That's what you trying to impress somebody, but you still in the back of your mind thinking like, when they gonna come get me, when they gonna come get me. So why go out there and try to do this, impress these people, that really don't care or think about you, because if they did care or think about you, they would tell you, look, man, you ain't got to do all that. We buddies, we friends, we know where you come from. You don't have to do all this. But it's all about society. It's all about um materialistic things. Nobody lives in the real world anymore. Everybody live in a fantasy world, thinking because they got the red bottoms, they got the Dooney purse, they got the coat. Well, no, I love Coach, but they got the other stuff that make them think they're more than that person. This stuff cannot get you into heaven. This stuff cannot drive a car. This stuff can't feed you. So the best thing to do is try to live in your means and stay in your means. Therefore, you won't be in the situation that you're in right now. And for a mom to bring a child along to do this type of stuff, you a low down. That's not even a mom. I don't even consider that a mom. I consider this as my partner, because we're partners in crime. You're not my mom. And he's so concerned about his mom, but she ain't concerned about him. Because if she
Woo!
was, she would have never even brought him to do all this type of stuff. That's all I got, Diva.
That part right there. Because he going to tell them, take care of my mom. She should have took care of you. She the mother. She never got you in this mess. Julius, your thoughts?
I hope he takes this as a teaching moment. Yes, he may be doing some time, but it's never too late to have a realignment.
Come on now.
Because God makes us go through radical change and redirection in many ways. We're not going to understand as we go through it. So I hope for Sean Kingston that he's taking this in. He's still in the fog of protect my mom. So his eyes is not wide open yet. But she's his mother. He came from her. She should have been loved, valuing, and protecting him no matter how old he is. So, as I said, I hope that he takes this as a teaching moment and that, it's too late to go back and undo those choices, right? But that he realizes that thank you, God, for putting me through this situation, because now I see and now I know. That's it.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that, Julius, and everybody. In my opinion, are you back?
I am.
Okay.
First of all, his mama trained him wrong, but he's a grown man, okay? And as a grown up, we know right from wrong. He knew what he was doing was wrong and illegal. We gotta stop babying people.
Oh, shoot.
And saying because mama didn't train you right. Well, mama may not have trained you right. There's a lot of deadbeat mamas out here that didn't train their kids right, but they ain't out here committing acts illegally. Okay? You are a grown up. This is stuff that I would expect a teenager to do. You grown. So your grown butt did the crime. You and your mama can grown butts can rot it in the jail. Okay? I don't care. I don't feel guilty at all. I feel let me tell you something. It's hard on everybody else when we have people like this that steal from companies. Because guess what? They jack the prices up on us people who pay for our stuff. Because y'all thieves that stealing. So no, I don't feel bad for y'all. I wish they lock all y'all thieving behinds up, okay? So my prices can go down, okay? I'm tired of spending thousands of dollars on stuff that I like. Let the prices go back down. I appreciate it, okay? I pay for all mine. I don't steal it. Don't torture me and punish me for y'all thieving people. Lock them up.
Ooh. Well, then there's that. And I understand your thought process. Thou shalt not steal. Listen, I hear y'all. Thank you, Tori. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Listen, I'm gonna say this to you. I agree with everybody. What everybody is saying. He's not a child. 35. He should know right from wrong. But it's something about your first teacher. It's something about the parents. and his mother was living with him. I feel bad. I will say this. I do believe, yes, don't get me wrong, he needs to pay. But 20 years per count, and he got 5 counts he was found guilty on. I don't know. I think for $1 million, there's people that kill people and don't even face that much time. I just think it's excessive. But we'll see. We'll stay connected. He's being sentenced in July. And I'm going to put a prayer out there. Yes, maybe he should do time, but I don't think he needs to do that much time. Go ahead.
How much time did Vera get for stealing that chicken?
It was a lot of time. I think I don't know why.
Didn't they give her 11 years for 3 point? What was she had got? How much the chicken she had got? Was it 3.4 million? How much chicken did Vera had got?
I forgot, but she did get a lot of time, and I also will say this: I think her time was excessive too.
Me too. I really do.
Yeah. So this, and then you have criminals who do not do that much time. I just don't get it. It's just insane to me. I'm just hoping, the mother, like I said, this is not her first time. So whatever the mother gets, she get. But I'm hoping, like Julia said, is you can always autocorrect. I hope he autocorrects, and I hope they show him some mercy when it comes time to his sentence. But I don't think that I don't think that, I haven't heard that term in so long, increased matters. I don't think the mother they're going to show her mercy, because this ain't her first time. So, and when this case first happened, she had so many mugshots. It was insane. So I'm gonna stay connected. Like I said, in July, we'll talk about this sentence. But in the meantime, y'all, I appreciate y'all for spending part of your Saturday night with me. Y'all know the routine. And you ain't hit that like button on the way in, hit it on the way out. Good night and goodbye, everybody. Choo choo.